Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about some books that I would recommend if you are self-isolating during this difficult time. This time of social upheaval, of fear and worry. I think that some of these books, if not all of them, and many others by the same authors, would be something to take your mind off the situation that we're all finding ourselves in. So the first book that I would choose would be Stardust by Neil Gaiman, and indeed anything by this author. But Stardust is one of my favourites by this guy. I love this book. It's just absolutely beautiful. The sleepy English countryside. At the dawn of the Victorian era, life moves at a leisurely pace in the tiny town of Wall. Young Tristram Thorne has lost his heart to the beautiful Victoria Forrester. But Victoria is as cold and distant as the star she and Tristram see fall from the sky one evening. For the prize of Victoria's hand, Tristram vows to retrieve the star for his beloved. It is an oath that sends the lovelorn swain over the town's ancient wall and into a world that is dangerous and strange beyond imagining. From his groundbreaking graphic novel series The Sandman to his best-selling novels Neverwhere and American Gods, Neil Gaiman's startling imagination has manifested itself in strange and sublimely inventive fiction. Stardust is his most enchanting tale yet, and it is. Tristram Thorne goes to retrieve a fallen star, and he ends up in Stormhold. He finds the star, but it is a woman. The star is a woman. Her name is Yvain, and stuff happens. They fall in love, and yeah, it's just beautiful. So, Stardust by Neil Gaiman. So the next book that I would choose if I were self-isolating, or the one I would recommend, would be The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is the Classics Reimagined edition, and it is absolutely beautiful. Not only is it fun because you're reading Sherlock Holmes, it's also fun because you have the most beautiful artwork inside. So it's a feast for the mind, and it's a feast for the eyes as well. Let me find another picture. I mean, it's just amazing. I just think it's beautiful. Yeah, so I don't feel that I need to read any synopsis. There isn't one, but if there was, everyone should know who Sherlock Holmes is. Elementary. So the next book by one of my favourite contemporary authors, and indeed anything by this author. I've read a few of his works now. I'm trying to ration myself because he's written a lot, he's prolific, but it's not an infinite amount of books, and his writing is just glorious. My favourite one of his is Nutshell, and it's by Ian McEwan. This tells the story of a nearly full-term fetus in the womb who can hear the discussions going on outside. He hears his mother and what becomes later on his uncle discussing the demise of his father. This is a retelling or a reimagining of Shakespeare's Hamlet, and it is just beautiful. The language used in this is just stunning. Ian McEwan can write. That man can write. It's glorious. Trudy has betrayed her husband John. She's still in the marital home, a dilapidated, priceless London townhouse, but John's not here. Instead, she's with his brother, the profoundly banal Claude, and the two of them have a plan, but there is a witness to their plot, the inquisitive 9-month-old resident of Trudy's womb. Told from a perspective unlike any other, Nutshell is a classic tale of murder and deceit from one of the world's master storytellers. it does what it says on the tin. It is just glorious, and you have to read it. It's an amazing book. The writing is just, I can't say enough about this book. It's so good, and indeed anything by this author, because he is amazing. It's fabulous. So the next book is my favourite by this author, and this is one of my all-time favourite authors, but indeed anything by her is something that you should read immediately. Read everything immediately by her. There's lots. Just read it all. But this is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, and this edition is just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. So Poirot is a Belgian super sleuth. He's a detective. He is very much like Sherlock Holmes in a way. He deducts things from people's body language and how they interact with each other and how they carry themselves. This is set on a train, the Orient Express, and there is a man who is very disliked, shall we say, and he ends up dead. And the twist in this is amazing. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm sure everyone knows what the story is about because there have been so many TV and film adaptations, some of them better than others. But yeah, if you're going to read anything by Agatha Christie, this for me would be the place to start. There isn't a blurb in this, but I shall read you the little bit in front. It says it has Agatha Christie's signature. Of course, it's not hers, but it's a likeness of her signature, and it says it's from an autobiography, so it's Agatha Christie's autobiography. All my life, I wanted to go on the Orient Express. When I had travelled from France or Spain or Italy, the Orient Express had often been standing at Calais, and I had longed to climb up into it. Simplon Orient Express, Milan, Belgrade, Istanbul. Next morning, I rushed round to Cook's, cancelled my tickets for the West Indies, and instead got tickets and reservations for a journey on the Simplon Orient Express to Istanbul. From Istanbul to Damascus, and from Damascus to Baghdad, across the desert. I was wildly excited. And yeah, read this, and indeed read anything by Agatha Christie, because she's a genius, and it's crime, and it's great. It's fabulous. So the fifth book that I would suggest that you read is quite a new one. Came out at the tail end of last year. I buddy read this with my husband while we were on holiday, and it is phenomenal. We did a whole video review, which I will link down below. It is Me by Elton John. This is Elton John's autobiography, and like I say, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely brilliant. It's laugh out loud funny. It's tears rolling down your face sad, and it's phenomenal. I can't praise this highly enough. I love this book. Elton John is the most enduringly successful singer-songwriter of all time. His life is extraordinary. His 7 decades, so far, packed with incredible highs and lows. Now, in his own words, and with his usual honesty, he shares his story. Every hilarious, heartbreaking moment. He reveals the truth about his childhood growing up in the London suburb of Pinner, and his difficult relationship with his parents. Christened Reginald Dwight, he was a shy boy with unlikely dreams of pop stardom. By the age of 23, he was performing his first big gig. He was performing his first gig in America, facing an astonished audience in his bright yellow dungarees and a star-spangled t-shirt and boots with wings. Elton John had arrived, and the music world would never be the same again. Me is full of drama, from the early rejection of Elton's work with songwriting partner Bernie Taupin to spinning out of control as a chart-topping superstar, from friendships with John Lennon, Freddie Mercury and George Michael, to disco dancing with the Queen, from suicide attempts to a secret drug addiction that would grip him for over a decade. Elton also writes powerfully about getting clean and setting up his AIDS Foundation. He describes finding true love with David Furnish, holidaying with Versace, and singing at Princess Diana's funeral. And he pinpoints the moment he realises that he wants to be a father, and his life changes once again. Joyously funny, entertaining, and at times deeply moving, Me will take you on an intimate journey with a living legend. And it absolutely does. It absolutely does. I read, obviously, this copy. My husband, we buddy read it. He audiobooked it. So we had slightly different reading experiences with it. But my experience, I wouldn't give up for the world. I loved this book. It was amazing. So I suggest that if you're self-isolating and you want a bit of drama, this is the book for you. So that's that for this video. That's it for this video at the moment. I will possibly do a part 2. We'll see. The cogs are turning in my brain about what else I'd read if I were stuck in the house. Of course, everything. I've tried to read everything in my library. But yeah, that's impossible because I have lots of books. But yeah, for the time being, that's part 1 of my recommendations for self-isolation. There may be a part 2 coming soon. To be continued. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, be safe. Just stay safe, guys. It's so important. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. At least 20 seconds. Antibacterial soap and warm water. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.